today's video, I have for you the new Halloween collection from Profusion. This is the Rituals collection. This is their full face palette, face and eye palette. There are 25 shadows in here, mattes, shimmers, and there's a few pressed glitters. I'm not really a huge fan of the pressed glitters. Almond right here, that's a pressed glitter. That might be the actual only one. Let me see. Yeah, those two are actual regular glitters, not pressed. Then I think the rest of them up here are shimmers. So this one may be the only actual pressed glitter in here. The rest are mattes. You have a highlighter, a bronzer, and then a blush. So we're going to do our entire face look using this palette. I really like the packaging on the palette as well. On the front cover, it looks like a Ouija board. So very spooky, very Halloween. And then we have the Frosted Highlighter. Candle Ritual is the shade. Everything is still in the packaging. I haven't actually taken everything out. I ordered my products on the Profusion website, but they're also available in Walmart. I was in Walmart yesterday. There's like a whole display of all the products. So if you don't want to order them from the website, you can probably find them in your local Walmart as well. This is what the highlighter is looking like. I'm not sure if it's a cream or a powder. The shade is actually called Flare. The packaging reminds me a lot of like the Colourpop highlighters. Let's see what this texture feels like. Oh, that is very creamy. Very, very creamy. That reminds me a lot of the Super Shock formulas from Colourpop. Oh, that is so pretty. Ooh, that is nice. Then the last thing I picked up is one of the Crystal Ritual lipsticks. High Impact Cream Lipstick. The shade I got is Aragonite Red, I think is the shade. I like the packaging on this one too. I've used their liquid lipsticks, but I don't think I've used any of their like bullet lipstick formulas before, so this will be my first time. This is what the packaging is looking like. That's going to be kind of hard to store, and that is the shade. It looks more like a kind of a brick, maybe mauve neutral more than a red, but we will see how it looks with the look that we put together today. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do, and that's prime my eyelids using my Colourpop Party Proof Primer in Caramel. Then we're going to put on the face products first and then do our eye look. They also sent me a brush set. This I didn't order. I guess it was a free gift with purchase. There's little Halloween decorations on it. This I'm going to put in my giveaway basket. I don't really need any more brushes at the moment, so this will be a nice part of my future giveaway. All right, now for our palette. So first of all, we're going to go into Cult, which is our bronzer. The only downside to like full face palettes like this is that if there's a bronzer in it, it's really only going to work for a certain amount of people. Not every skin tone is going to be able to use it. It looks kind of warm, neutral, so we'll see how it works on my skin tone. If you guys have been following me or if you're new to my channel, you know, I like bronzers that are more warm toned. I'm not really into like cool tone bronzers. So let's see, and this is definitely a powder. I like to take it with this brush. This is from Aloe Studios, the F24. It's kind of a very soft, flat brush. I feel like this works really good for buffing in bronzer. Okay. It has more of a kind of cool neutral, maybe a slight bit of warmth. It looks more red, definitely for sure, than it does like, you know, a bronzy warm tone, if that makes any sense. But I like to just take the brush and I just kind of buff it in. I'm going to have to take my sponge and probably have to like blend out the edges. I buff it around the hairline, kind of under the cheeks as a bit of a contour, and then underneath the jawline. It's not a bad tone. It actually works pretty good. It's not blending in as well as I would like, but the tone itself is not awful, so it works okay for me. I'm going to take my sponge here and just kind of blend out the edges. I feel like I have harsh lines going on here. Now I'm going to take this angled brush from Aloe Studios. This is the F22, and we're going to go into the blush, which is Ritual. All of the face products here have like this little eye embossed into it. I don't know if you can see that. But we're just going to take a little bit of the blush and blend it onto the cheeks. It looks like it has kind of a reddish pink, maybe a mauve kind of a tone. That is definitely super pigmented. It's got a little bit of a glow to it. Oh, that's pretty. That is a beautiful, beautiful shade. Blend it onto this cheek. Definitely not like a super flat matte. It definitely has some glow to it, as you can see. Go back in with my sponge again and just kind of blend everything together. Now we're going to try out the highlighter. It is called Initiation. It looks kind of like a rose champagne kind of a tone. I'm going to be using the Aloe Studio F19. It's going to lightly tap in here. I was very tempted to try the cream kind of super shocky type formula, but I do want to test out all the products in the palette. I will definitely give that cream one a try in the future. Oh, that is very icy. It's like a very rosy, pinky champagne ice shade. Oh, it's very, very shiny. It's not like super smooth. It's blending out the best, but the tone is pretty. Very nice. I'll take a little bit. I rarely ever highlight my nose anymore, but what the heck. All right, now to dip into these shadows, I'm going to use the point brush, the B or ES3 from Profusion. I'm thinking I want to do something more smoky, so maybe focus on like the black, this gray here, kind of see what we can put together with those tones. I haven't done a smoky look like that in a while. I wanted to do something more red. I was thinking there was a bright red in here, but then when I opened up the palette, I realized that there isn't. We're going to start off with Nocturnal, this smoky gray here, and I'm going to kind of lay that down all over, like in the crease, kind of in my transition shade, and maybe go right into this one. Definitely got a lot of kick up there, so I'm going to tap off some of it. I don't want to go too heavy-handed to start off with. All right, so take this crease brush and then just lightly start blending the shade on the lid. Just kind of slowly buff it back and forth. It's blending out pretty well. It's not like super patchy. It's not sticking in one spot. You know, sometimes deeper shadows do that and that's just so freaking annoying. But this one seems to be blending out pretty well. Just buffing that above my crease as a lighter transition and then taking it into the crease just a little bit deeper. So far, this is looking really nice. So I was finally able to get a rental car. I don't know if I mentioned in the last video that they had set me up, my insurance has set me up an appointment with Enterprise to get a rental, but when I contacted Enterprise, every single location in the city, no cars. Right now, I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and right now we're on spring break. So they were saying that everybody was renting cars, you know, to go on vacation because of the break, and so there wouldn't be any cars available till like next Monday or Tuesday. Today is Friday, by the way. I'm like, yeah, that's not acceptable. This was on Monday when I finally talked to my insurance and got my car in the shop. So after a couple of days of just calling different Enterprise locations with no luck, I finally called my insurance company and let them know that I was having trouble getting a car with Enterprise and can I look at other rental companies. They told me that was fine, that if I find a location that has a car, just to give them the information, they'll get everything set up. So at first, we thought we found something with Avis, but the only location that Avis had was the airport, and apparently if you rent a car at the airport, they have certain fees that the insurance companies don't cover. But I was able to find something through Hertz, so I have a nice little SUV. And I did get a message back from the body shop that's working on my car that they're currently working on it now. The estimated time of the work being completed is November 4th, but it's a possibility that it could be done sooner. So I'm just happy that I finally have a car so I can work, I can do my job. That's the most important thing. I think I'm going to take Burial, which is a little bit lighter than this one. Kind of go above the crease just a little bit, just to kind of soften the edge a little bit more. And then we will go into Black Magic, which is the deeper black shade. I'm going to go in with the small pointed eyeshadow brush. This is the ES6 from Profusion, and now I'm going to go into Black Magic, which is the black shade right here. And I'm just going to kind of smoke that out along this edge, and that may be it for my shadows as far as the mattes, and then we will go into some shimmers. Blacks I tend to find a little bit intimidating, so I'm just going to lightly blend and smoke this out right in here on the outer corner, going to the crease. That's actually a pretty decent black matte. It's blending pretty well. I'm not getting a bunch of patchiness. Like I said, I tend to be a little bit intimidated with black shadows, so I don't really use them much. But I just really wanted to do something smoky and dramatic and kind of spooky for this particular look. So far, so good. This shade, it's blending out, building up very nicely. I'm not getting like a ton of fallout, which can also happen with blacks. Very nice. I think that this is where I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to blend it a little more into the crease. And then, yeah, I think as far as the mattes, that's where we're going to leave it. So let's jump into doing our shimmers. I'm going to use this flat brush from a Beauty Base set that I got, 4 or 5 months ago. It's part of a Pride themed brush set. What shimmers do we want to do for this look? Jinx. I'm kind of looking at. Ooh, do you see that? It's more of a pressed glitter, but it's a smoother pressed glitter. It's not like super glittery and gritty like this shade right here. Let me see. You know what? It looks smoother when I swatched it with my finger, but yeah, that's just too much grit going on. I don't think I want to go with that one. I think I'm going to go with Sorcery, which is this really pretty purpley shimmer here. That is gorgeous. Does that have a shift to it? It has like little pink, very fine micro glitters, and this one feels super creamy. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's nice. I think that's the one that I'm going to use as my all over shimmer, and then take something else into the inner portion. So we have a little bit on the eyelid. I mean, a little bit on the eyelid, a little bit on the brush. And go ahead and start laying this down. Oh, that is pretty. Wow. I have to say that so far I am impressed with the formula in this palette. Profusion can be hit or miss. Their 10 pen palettes are always hit it out the ballpark, but some of their smaller palettes, you just never know. This is my first time using like a bigger palette from the brand, and I have to say, I am impressed with this formula. This shimmer is so smooth and buttery. Ooh, that is just gorgeous. And it's packing on so well. I'm not getting like a ton of glittery fallout or anything on my face. So pretty. Alright, now for an inner corner highlight. I'm going to use the smallest Blend Bunny brush. This is the B2. And what do we want to put in the inner portion? Protector. What does that look like? It's a very light pink. Is that? Okay, that is a shimmer. Very super light. I might go into Descendant, which is this one. Kind of icy. You know what? I think we'll do this one. I thought about like doing swatches of this palette, but yeah, I just didn't really feel like swatching 25 shades. I didn't think it was necessary either. So, ooh, that very powdery. Let's see how it looks. I may have to wet this to get it to kind of stick. Oh, nope, never mind. It works just fine on its own. You just want to kind of tap lightly because you do get a lot of like, it's more fallouty, more flaky. Is that the word that I'm looking for? But yeah, very bright, very wet looking. Very pretty. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go offline. I'm going to pick something for my waterline, do a wing. I'm going to be using the NYX Epic Ink Liner, one of my favorite absolute liners for doing a wing. Throw on lashes, and then we will come back and test out this Crystal Ritual Mega Impact Cream Lipstick. The lashes that I use today are from Ione. These are the 3D Faux Mink lashes in Natural Cateye Lite. I have been using these a lot lately. I just think these are so freaking pretty. I may have 2 or 3 more uses out of this one, and then I'll have to toss them. But I do have, I think, 2 or 3 more of these in my backup. So Loving these. In my waterline, I am using one of the gel liners from Aloe Studio. The shade is in Starfish. It's just a really pretty pastel purple. I think it went pretty with this look. Now let's go on ahead and try out this lipstick. I'm going to line my lips real quick using this lip liner from Colourpop. This is part of the first Hocus Pocus collection. The shade is in Come We Fly. I think this is the closest that I have to a shade that's going to match this one. I really need some like warmer pinky red lip pencils. So now for our lipstick. I like the way the packaging feels. It's like a soft matte kind of a feel to it. Not fond of the shape because like I said, it's going to be a pain to store, but let's see what this formula is like. Won't smell anything, so fragrance free. Very, very creamy. Ooh, it feels very, very comfortable. It's definitely not a matte. It's more like a satin cream kind of a formula. This shade is really pretty. Alright guys, so that is it for at least the pieces of this collection that I picked up. There were a lot more. They had a couple of like cream blush stamps, you know, that have like the heart stamps. I don't know why they would, that just felt odd for this type of collection. So I didn't get those, but they did have the little heart blush stamps. They had a full like Maleficent kind of costume kit that you could have gotten as well. I think they also had cake liners, the ones that you wet and then use the brush to like line. Almost got some of those, but I'm not quite ready to like try out a product like that yet. I do find those intimidating. But yeah, that is it for this collection. I did enjoy all of the products that I used. The lipstick is very creamy. This palette was really, really beautiful. All the formulas worked so beautifully, blended beautifully. I didn't have any issues with any. I do wish that rather than make this a full face palette, they had launched maybe a few different tones of the powder blush. I mean, a red, deep rich red powder blush would have been freaking amazing. And then maybe a few tones in the bronzer, because like I said, this one is not going to work for everybody, obviously. So it would have been nice if they would have at least done like maybe a light, medium, you know, deep tone. And the highlighter is really, really pretty, but it is kind of icy. So I don't think it's going to be something that I would pull out like on a daily basis. But as a whole, I thought this palette was stunning, and I am definitely looking forward to trying out this little cream highlighter. I just did my Shop My Stash, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this in with the highlighters that I pulled out so that I can test this out, because pretty excited about this one. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It really does help with my channel. If you are new to my channel and you are not already subscribed, I would love it if you would please consider joining my little family and hitting subscribe, and make sure to tap the notification bell so you can be notified of any videos coming up in the future. That's very important so you don't miss out on anything coming up. You can also follow me on my other socials. I am on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be safe. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.